The music was loud, the lights warm, and the laughter even louder. My wife, Elena, stood in the center of the living room, surrounded by her closest friends, holding a glass of champagne and glowing in a way that made the entire room orbit her. It was her promotion party, and I had never been prouder. I had helped set up the decorations, coordinated the catering, and even practiced a short speech. When she caught my eye from across the room, she smiled. Soft, inviting. I took that as my cue. I walked toward her, heart full, ready to share a simple, loving kiss. Her friends parted slightly as I reached her. I wrapped an arm around her waist, feeling the familiar warmth of her body, and leaned in to kiss her. It was instinct, affection, pride, all wrapped into one simple gesture. But just before my lips touched hers, she pulled away. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was subtle. Yet it felt like the music had stopped. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Don't embarrass me. Not here." Her voice was sharp, almost cold. And suddenly, I was aware that everyone was watching. I froze. My hand slipped from her waist as if I'd touched something fragile and forbidden. A few of her friends exchanged quick glances, their smiles tightening. Someone awkwardly laughed. Elena stepped slightly away from me, adjusting her dress as if creating distance was the most natural thing in the world. "Excuse us," she said brightly to her friends, "though we weren't going anywhere together." I nodded, pretending I understood, pretending I wasn't confused. Embarrass her? Since when was a husband kissing his wife at her celebration something to be ashamed of? The rest of the evening blurred into polite smiles and silent questions. I delivered my speech anyway, praising her dedication and brilliance, though my voice felt disconnected from my heart. She thanked me with a formal hug instead of the warmth we once shared. I watched her laugh freely with everyone else, touching their arms, leaning close when they spoke, accepting their congratulations with glowing pride. But whenever I stepped near, she seemed to subtly reposition herself, as if I were an inconvenient prop instead of her partner. When we finally got home, the silence between us felt heavier than the crowded party had. I closed the door gently and turned to her. "What did you mean?" I asked, my voice calm but fragile. She kicked off her heels and sighed, as if exhausted by something trivial. "You're too intense sometimes," she said. "You don't understand how things look. My colleagues were there. I have an image." An image. I repeated the word in my mind like it was foreign. "I'm your husband," I said quietly. "Not a scandal." She rolled her eyes slightly, and that hurt more than the whisper. "You don't get it. They see me as independent, focused. I don't want to look clingy." The word stung. Clingy. I thought about the nights I stayed up helping her prepare presentations. The weekends I handled chores so she could study. The quiet sacrifices I never mentioned. Was loving her openly now considered weakness? Since when does being married make someone less professional? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she went to the bedroom, leaving me standing alone in the hallway. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch replaying the moment over and over. The whisper. The looks. The subtle distance she created. It wasn't just about a kiss. It was about what that kiss represented. Connection, partnership, pride. If she was ashamed of that in public, what did it say about us in private? By morning, a quiet clarity settled over me. I wasn't angry. I was hurt. And more than that, I felt invisible. I realized I had been shrinking myself to fit into the image she wanted to project. Over the next few days, I observed things differently. She took calls in another room more often. She referred to me as Daniel instead of my husband when speaking to coworkers on speakerphone. It was subtle but consistent. I confronted her gently one evening. "Are you embarrassed of being married to me?" I asked. She hesitated, a pause long enough to confirm what I feared. "It's not you," she said finally. "It's just, I need space to grow." But growth shouldn't require erasing someone who supported you. That night, I made a decision that surprised even me. I wasn't going to fight to be visible in my own marriage. I deserved a partner proud to stand beside me, not someone who treated affection like a liability. The next weekend, I told her I needed time away. Not to punish her, not to manipulate, but to remember who I was before I started measuring my worth by her comfort. She didn't argue. She simply nodded, as if part of her had expected this. A month later, we sat across from each other at a quiet cafe to talk. The space between us felt honest for the first time in a while. She admitted she had been so focused on climbing higher that she started viewing everything, including me, through the lens of perception. I forgot what matters, she said softly. I told her I couldn't be a secret or an accessory. Love isn't embarrassing. Partnership isn't weakness. Whether we rebuild or part ways, I now know this. No room full of people should ever make you feel small for loving someone openly.